By now, many of you should be familiar with the fact that Symone Sanders is stepping down as Kamala Harris' chief spokesman and senior advisor. Now, this information comes on the heels of Ashley Etney stepping down as Kamala's communications director. And now, since the news of Symone Sanders leaving the side of Kamala broke, it's also been revealed that 2 more of Kamala's aides are stepping down. Peter Vels, who is the vice president's director of press operations, and Vince Evans, the deputy director of the Office of Public Engagement and Intergovernmental Affairs. And if this isn't bad enough, all of this comes on the back of Kamala Harris having one of the lowest approval ratings, if not the lowest, of a vice president ever at 28%. Now, on the surface, it may appear as if Kamala Harris is done, with the sentiments of many Black Americans being good riddance to a woman who is essentially a chameleon who passes as Black when it's politically convenient, but can also morph into being Indian or, to be even more specific, an Asian woman, depending on the audience being addressed. But I would caution those with the mindset of good riddance because though it may appear that she's politically on a downward spiral, doomed to crash and burn, what many aren't noticing is how the mainstream media is already preparing for her rebirth through the talking point that Joe Biden never properly utilized her and set her up for failure. Since October, media outlets like CNN have been planting this seed, and you can expect to hear it more and more moving forward.
Bakari, I'm going to start with you because you made some news. You said the White House has essentially set the vice president up for failure with her assignments that she has been given. Let's listen to what you had to say.
Her portfolio is trash. I mean, her portfolio is just, you give someone a portfolio that's not meant for them to succeed.
But she has immigration as a woman of color.
You give somebody a portfolio. We cannot forget that this is one of the most difficult and complicated issues. Should she get it? Okay, on her plate? Sure, okay, that's fine. But you give her that, and then you give her voting rights. Those are the 2 main issues on her plate. But then you don't come out forcefully in abolishing the filibuster. So how's she supposed to do that?
So I know what you were saying earlier about her basically being hamstrung because the president isn't doing enough on the issues in her portfolio, but is she showing up enough on immigration, Bakari?
Well, let me just say that one of the things I want the vice president and the president to succeed. You won't find anybody who's more adamant about their love and support for Kamala Harris than myself. I love her and her entire family. And so this constructive criticism, actually, I'm not sure the inner workings of the White House. That's how I will answer the question. I'm not sure if she's not showing up or she's not allowed to show up. But I think that Kamala Harris needs to be everywhere all the time. She is somebody who can go out and get support for whether or not it's your agenda on Build Back Better or whether or not it's going to the border talking about these issues. She's extremely talented, and as you said earlier, she led the 2nd largest Department of Justice in the country, second only to the United States. She's senator from a border state. Let her go do her thing. I mean, that is my response. And so, yeah, I somewhat agree, although I'm not sure that criticism should land in the Naval Observatory.
Let's be honest. CNN is essentially the Democratic news network. I say that to say this. They would never have an individual like Bakari Sellers on air saying these things if they didn't want him to be. Now take a look at this stage back and forth between April Ryan and Jen Psaki concerning Kamala being set up for failure.
We need Congress to move forward on both to get that done.
The Black agenda is huge, it's vast, but in this moment, there's a small window of time before elections happen. And the concern is that this president is not doing enough. He has not armed the vice president or helped her to be able to fight the fight for these things.
I would say the vice president is more than capable of fighting the fight in the lead on this particular issue and any issue.
So how is
She's
he
the vice president of the United States? Pretty powerful.
Right, but if the president, the argument is if the president is not supporting her with the tools that she needs.
Which tools is he not providing to her?
The filibuster for voting rights, and that's in her portfolio. You have one of her friends and a Democrat, a strategist, Bakari Sellers, who says her portfolio is trash because he's not supporting her in the way that she needs to be supported for this to pass. So what do you say? Can he, will he, shall he push for the filibuster for voting rights even as he's doing it, thinking about it for the debt ceiling?
Well, that's not exactly what I conveyed earlier, but I will say that the president has conveyed many times that getting voting rights done, signing it into law, is top of his agenda. The vice president, one of the most powerful people in the world, is leading this effort. She is his partner. She's the first in the room, the last in the room, and he's going to continue to work by her side to get it done. But beyond that, and the legislative process and how that will work, I don't have any update on that front.
Once again, this exchange doesn't happen if the White House doesn't want it to. Now I want to come to this article here in the Daily Mail and look at how many times this talking point arises. The staffers flee amid swirling rumors of internal tensions and alleged frustration that President Joe Biden is not positioning her well for a position to run. Her obviously meaning Kamala Harris. Now let's scroll down a little bit, and it continues to read, Harris in recent weeks has battled mounting reports that her office is in disarray and that her team is frustrated at being handed no-win tasks that don't suit her skill set, such as tackling the root causes of migration behind the recent border crisis. And then we scroll down a little bit further, and it continues on to read, last month, Sanders was the first to respond to a detailed CNN report in which Harris aides complained that she has been set up to fail and handed a portfolio that is not commensurate with her historic status as the first woman and first woman of color to hold the vice president's office. They're consistently sending her out there on losing issues in the wrong situations for her skill set, said a former high-level Harris aide in the bombshell report. Now, once again, that bombshell report came from where? CNN, also known as a Democratic news network. As more news continues to come out concerning Kamala Harris's low polling numbers and how she's failing at this and failing at that and her staffers are leaving her, with that will always come tied the excuse that Joe Biden is misusing her and sending her out there to fail. Therefore, come election time, if Joe Biden chooses not to run for whatever those reasons being, and it's time to prop up Kamala Harris, they will already have their built-in excuse that the only reason she failed as a vice president is because the president at the time, Joe Biden, was holding her back. What we're seeing with Kamala Harris right now is, as the old saying goes, this is a minor setback for a major comeback. And that's exactly what we're getting ready to witness here. Please do not be fooled by all of these headlines, because if you pay close attention, it's all smoke and mirrors to set up Harris 2024, if not Harris 2028. And with that, the real question comes is, will you fall for it? And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. All social media links will be pinned in the comment section below. Please make sure you text tdhiphop to number 33222. That's tdhiphop to number 33222. That way you'll get a direct text notification whenever I release a new video, but it also serves as a protection plan for myself in case YouTube ever gives this channel the axe. I'll be able to send you a direct link to where you can find me next. And last but not least, for those of you who have a love and appreciation for the work that I put in on this channel, the number one way you can show your support is through Patreon for only $3 a month. That will help put me in position to take TD Hip Hop Media off of YouTube. Remember, the goal is not to grow big on YouTube, but to grow independent of YouTube. And for those who have issues with joining Patreon, you could also hit the join button that's next to the subscribe button, and that way you can become an official channel member for as little as $3 a month as well. And lastly, if you have not already, please make sure you join the emailing list. There is no way that I can go independent of YouTube if I cannot take the audience with me. And the link to that will be pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you for your time, and until the next video, peace.